Welcome back to our channel, Coin Enthusiasts. If you're a fan of collecting rare coins, you're in for a treat today. In this video, we're diving into one of the most iconic coins of all time, the 1961 Lincoln penny. This little coin, often overlooked by many, has a fascinating history and could be worth far more than you might imagine. If you've come across one of these in your coin hunts or in your collection, you'll definitely want to stick around until the end to discover just how valuable this penny could be. Let's start with a quick history lesson on the 1961 Lincoln penny. The Lincoln cent, first introduced in 1909, is one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. The obverse, which features Abraham Lincoln, was designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner. Over the years, this iconic design has undergone several changes, but the 1961 version still features the original portrait of Lincoln that's been cherished for more than a century. In 1961, the United States was in the midst of a post-World War II economic boom. The country had entered the 1960s with optimism and growth, but there were also challenges like inflation and a rapidly changing society. Coins from this era, including the 1961 Lincoln penny, hold historical significance as they represent the transition between the prosperity of the 1950s and the societal shifts of the 1960s. But why is this specific penny from 1961 considered valuable today? Let's take a closer look at the key features of the coin. The obverse side of the 1961 Lincoln penny features the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln, facing right. The inscription, "In God We Trust," is visible above the portrait, and to the right, you'll find the year, 1961. Below the portrait, the word "Liberty" is inscribed, a symbol of the country's enduring commitment to freedom. This design has been largely unchanged since it was first introduced, which gives the Lincoln penny its timeless appeal. On the reverse side, you'll see the words "United States of America" and "E Pluribus Unum" encircling a simple yet striking image of a pair of wheat stalks. This reverse design, which is known as the wheat reverse, was used from 1909 to 1958. However, the design continued to appear on some pennies in 1959, 1960, and 1961 due to production delays with the new reverse design, which featured the Lincoln Memorial. The 1961 Lincoln penny stands out primarily for the design and the historical context of its mintage. But what makes it even more interesting is that there are rare variations and minting errors that can dramatically increase its value. So let's break down what to look for if you come across this coin in your collection or in your coin hunts. Now, one of the most important things to keep in mind when looking for valuable 1961 pennies is the condition of the coin. Most of these pennies were circulated, meaning that they're likely to show signs of wear, such as scratches, discoloration, and flattening of the design. The more worn a coin is, the less valuable it typically becomes. If you come across a 1961 penny that is in excellent condition, especially one that has been well preserved or even uncirculated, its value will increase significantly. The key to spotting a valuable 1961 Lincoln penny is to look for a coin that still has sharp, clean details. Look closely at the portrait of Abraham Lincoln and the wheat stalks on the reverse. If these areas are still crisp and well-defined, it could indicate that the coin is in higher grade condition, which can significantly raise its value. Next, let's talk about mint marks. Like most coins, the 1961 Lincoln penny was minted at multiple locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. If the coin you're looking at has no mint mark, it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. If it has a D mint mark, it was minted in Denver, and if it has an S mint mark, it was minted in San Francisco. In general, the Philadelphia Mint coins are more common, while those with the D or S mint marks are often more valuable, especially if they're in pristine condition. However, regardless of the mint mark, the most important factor will always be the condition and rarity of the coin. Now, let's dive into the world of error coins. This is where things get really exciting. Like many coins from the mid-20th century, the 1961 Lincoln penny has its fair share of minting errors. Mint errors are often what collectors get really excited about, and they can push a coin's value into the thousands. For the 1961 Lincoln penny, some of the most notable errors to look out for include double die obverse errors. A double die error occurs when the coin is struck multiple times, causing the design to appear doubled. This is most noticeable in the date or the word Liberty. If you spot a 1961 penny with doubled text, you might be holding a rare treasure. Another minting error to watch for is off-center strikes. Off-center strikes happen when the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process, causing part of the design to be cut off. These errors can make the coin look very unique and increase its value significantly. Additionally, die cracks are another form of minting error. A die crack occurs when a crack forms on the die that strikes the coin, leaving a raised crack mark on the surface of the coin. These cracks can appear anywhere on the coin, but they are most commonly found around the edges. While die cracks aren't as dramatic as double die errors or off-center strikes, they can still add a bit of extra value to the coin. Now, let's answer the big question: how much can a 1961 Lincoln penny be worth? The value of this penny depends largely on the condition, mint mark, and any rare minting errors it might possess. Most 1961 Lincoln pennies in good condition are worth only a few cents. However, if you have one in uncirculated condition or one that features a minting error, the value can rise dramatically. Depending on the grade and rarity, a 1961 Lincoln penny can be worth anywhere from $3,400 to $37,000 in some rare cases. That's right, this small 1-cent coin could be worth tens of thousands of dollars, depending on the condition and the presence of any valuable errors. So, before you toss that old penny into your change jar, be sure to check it out closely. It might just be worth a small fortune. Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever found a rare coin in your pocket change or in your collection? Maybe you've come across a 1961 Lincoln penny with a minting error or an unusual feature. Let me know in the comments below. Today, we're diving into a coin that many might overlook, but it has a fascinating backstory and could be worth much more than you think: the 1971 Lincoln penny. You might have one of these in your pocket change, in a coin jar, or tucked away in a collection. But do you know just how valuable this little penny could be? The 1971 Lincoln penny marks a special point in American coinage history. By the time this coin was minted, the United States was moving away from the use of silver in most of its coins, transitioning to copper-plated zinc. This change was part of a broader effort to reduce the cost of coin production, which was becoming increasingly expensive. The 1971 penny, therefore, represents an important shift in the material used for U.S. currency. On the obverse of the 1971 Lincoln penny, you'll see the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This design, which has graced the Lincoln cent since 1909, is instantly recognizable to any coin collector or enthusiast. Surrounding the portrait, you'll find the familiar inscriptions: "In God We Trust," above Lincoln's head, "Liberty," to the left, and the year, 1971, to the right. The simple yet elegant design represents the enduring legacy of Lincoln, who has become a symbol of freedom, unity, and perseverance in American history. On the reverse side of the 1971 penny, you'll find the "United States of America" inscription, along with the phrase "E pluribus unum," which means, out of many, one. But what's truly distinctive about the reverse is the design of the Lincoln Memorial. Designed by Frank Gasparo, this reverse design was used on the Lincoln penny from 1959 until 2008, showcasing the famous monument that honors Lincoln's legacy. The 1971 Lincoln penny, despite being a fairly common coin in circulation, can actually hold significant value, especially if you know what to look for. So, let's break down what makes this penny special and why it might be worth far more than its face value. First, let's talk about the condition of the coin. As with most collectible coins, the condition plays a major role in determining its value. Most 1971 pennies were produced in large quantities, and because they've been used in everyday transactions, many of them are heavily worn. However, if you come across a 1971 penny that's in uncirculated condition, that is, a coin that has never been used in circulation and still retains all its original detail, that coin can be worth significantly more. Coins that have been well preserved can fetch a much higher price from collectors, another important aspect of determining a coin's value is the mint mark. The 1971 Lincoln penny was minted at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins minted in Philadelphia typically have no mint mark, while those minted in Denver have a D, and those minted in San Francisco have an S. Generally, the San Francisco mint-marked coins are less common, and if you find a 1971 penny with an S mint mark in excellent condition, it could be more valuable. Next, let's talk about error coins, which are highly sought after by collectors. Minting errors can make a coin truly unique, and the 1971 Lincoln penny is no exception. The most exciting error you should watch out for is the double die obverse error. This occurs when a coin is struck twice by the same die, causing the design to appear doubled. For the 1971 penny, a double die error could make the text, Liberty, or the date, 1971, appear more than once. These errors can make a coin much rarer and more valuable, so be sure to closely inspect the text and numbers on your 1971 pennies for any signs of doubling. Another error to look for is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not aligned properly during the minting process, resulting in a portion of the design being cut off. An off-center 1971 penny can look quite unusual and is considered a unique find. Off-center strikes are relatively rare, and when they are in good condition, they can attract the attention of serious collectors. You should also be on the lookout for die cracks and planchet errors. Die cracks form on the minting die, leaving raised lines or cracks on the surface of the coin. Planchet errors occur when there's a problem with the metal blank, planchet, before it is struck. For example, a 1971 penny could have a planchet error that causes part of the coin to be missing or deformed. These types of errors, though less common, can increase the coin's desirability among collectors and raise its value. Now, let's talk about the big question: how much could a 1971 Lincoln penny be worth? If you have a 1971 penny that is in uncirculated condition or features a minting error, its value can skyrocket well above its face value of 1 cent depending on the condition, mint mark, and potential errors. A 1971 Lincoln penny can be worth anywhere from $3,400 to $35,000 in rare cases. It might seem unbelievable that a single penny, something you can easily overlook, could be worth so much. But the rarity of certain conditions and minting errors can make these coins highly valuable, and collectors are always on the lookout for these special pieces. Before you go, I want to hear from you. Have you ever found a 1971 penny with a unique error or in amazing condition? Today, we're diving into a fascinating piece of American history, the 1966 Lincoln penny. You might think a penny is just a penny, but hold on. There's more to this little coin than meets the eye. Whether you've got one of these in your change jar or are just starting to get into coin collecting, the 1966 Lincoln penny is one you won't want to overlook. Let's break down what makes this coin so valuable, and why it could be worth thousands of dollars today. The 1966 Lincoln penny, like its predecessors, features the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This iconic image has graced the face of the penny since 1909, and it continues to be one of the most recognizable coin designs in the world. The obverse of the 1966 penny proudly displays Lincoln's profile, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," above, "Liberty," to the left, and "1966," to the right. If you look closely, you'll also see the tiny VDB, Brenner's initials, just beneath Lincoln's shoulder, a mark that signifies the artist behind this famous design. On the reverse of the coin, we see the words, "United States of America," surrounding the motto, "E Pluribus Unum." In the center, you'll find a simple but powerful representation of the coin's denomination, the phrase, 1 cent, flanked by 2 wheat ears. This wheat design has been a staple of the penny since 1909, but in 1959, it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial. So, the 1966 penny is one of the last to feature the wheat stalks, a small but important detail for collectors. Now that we've covered the basics, let's talk about what makes this particular penny special and what to look for when evaluating its value. The first thing to note about the 1966 penny is its composition. Like all pennies minted before 1982, the 1966 penny is made of a copper core with a thin copper coating. This gives the coin a rich reddish-brown hue that many collectors find appealing. However, it's also important to note that the 1966 penny was produced in very large numbers, making it more common in circulation today. Still, there are certain factors that can make a 1966 penny stand out among the rest. One key aspect that can increase the value of a 1966 Lincoln penny is its condition. Coins that have been in circulation for years tend to show wear, but those that remain in uncirculated condition, meaning they have no signs of use and retain their original sharpness, can command a significantly higher price. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. Coins that are graded at MS65 or higher are considered to be in excellent condition and can fetch impressive sums in the right market. Next, let's talk about the mint mark. The 1966 Lincoln penny was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which means that it doesn't have a mint mark. However, while most of the 1966 pennies are from Philadelphia, there were also pennies produced at the Denver Mint, which have a small D mint mark. The mint mark itself doesn't have a huge impact on the coin's value, but it's always important to know whether your penny is from Philadelphia or Denver. The next thing to keep an eye out for are error coins. Error coins are highly sought after by collectors because they are rare and unique. There are a few types of errors that could make your 1966 penny more valuable. One of the most interesting errors to look for is the double die obverse. This occurs when the coin is struck twice by the same die, creating a doubled image on the coin. For the 1966 penny, you might notice doubling in the date or in the words, "Liberty" or "In God We Trust." These errors are highly collectible, and finding a 1966 penny with a double die obverse can significantly increase its worth. Another error to look for is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process, causing part of the design to be off-center. Off-center strikes are especially valuable to collectors who appreciate the uniqueness of these errors. While not as common, off-center strikes are still something to keep an eye out for when you're sorting through your pennies. Die cracks and planchet errors are also worth mentioning. Die cracks happen when there's a crack in the minting die, which leaves a raised line on the surface of the coin. Planchet errors occur when the blank piece of metal, or planchet, is damaged before it's struck. These types of errors are generally more subtle but can still be interesting to collectors, especially if they're noticeable and affect the coin's design. So, why is the 1966 Lincoln penny valuable? Despite its wide production, there are a few things that can make this coin stand out: its condition, minting errors, and the rarity of certain examples. Most 1966 pennies are not worth much more than their face value, but well-preserved specimens or error coins can be worth a lot more. When these factors align, the value of a 1966 Lincoln penny can go from being a mere cent to several $1,000s, depending on the specific characteristics. Now, for the moment you've all been waiting for. If you happen to have a 1966 penny in uncirculated condition, or one with a rare minting error, it could be worth anywhere from $3,300 to $34,000, depending on the quality and rarity of the coin. Isn't it incredible that a single penny, something you may have tossed around or forgotten about, can hold so much value? It just goes to show, there's a lot more to these coins than we might think. So, take a closer look at the pennies you have lying around. You might just have a hidden treasure on your hands. Before we wrap up, I want to hear from you. Have you ever come across a 1966 Lincoln penny with a rare error, or do you have any of these coins in your collection? Let me know in the comments below. Today, we're exploring a fascinating coin that has captivated collectors for years, the 1970 Lincoln penny. A coin that might look like just another piece of change, but trust me, this little penny could be hiding more value than you might think. So, stick with us as we uncover what makes the 1970 Lincoln penny special, why it's worth a closer look, and how you might have a hidden treasure in your pocket. When we think of the Lincoln penny, we usually think of the classic design featuring President Abraham Lincoln's portrait. The 1970 Lincoln penny is no exception, but there are some key features that make this coin a bit more interesting than the typical everyday penny. Let's dive into what sets the 1970 penny apart. The obverse of the 1970 Lincoln penny features a profile of Abraham Lincoln, created by the artist Victor David Brenner. This image has been part of the penny's design since 1909, and it continues to be one of the most recognizable symbols of American currency. Surrounding Lincoln's profile, you'll find the phrase, "In God We Trust," above, "Liberty," to the left, and the year, 1970, on the right. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll see the familiar wheat stalks flanking the words, "United States of America," and the motto, "E pluribus unum." The phrase, "1 cent," is centered between the two wheat stalks, which is why this particular design is called the wheat penny. However, if you're familiar with the history of the Lincoln penny, you'll know that the wheat stalks were replaced by the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse starting in 1959. The 1970 penny is one of the last to feature the wheat design before the switch to the Lincoln Memorial. Now, while the 1970 penny may seem pretty standard, there are some important factors that can affect its value. Let's take a closer look at what makes the 1970 penny special for collectors, and why it could be worth far more than just 1 cent. The key to a valuable 1970 penny is its condition. Most pennies from 1970 were circulated widely, meaning they are often worn, scratched, or damaged from years of use. However, uncirculated coins, those that were never spent and kept in pristine condition, are much rarer and therefore more valuable. Coins that are graded at a high level, such as MS-65 or higher, can significantly increase in value, so if you find a 1970 penny that's still shiny and crisp, it could be worth quite a bit. Another important factor to consider when evaluating the value of a 1970 penny is the mint mark. In 1970, pennies were struck at multiple mints, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Pennies from Philadelphia do not carry a mint mark, while those from Denver are marked with a D, and those from San Francisco are marked with an S. While the mint mark may not seem like a big deal, the coins from the San Francisco Mint, especially those struck in proof, are far rarer and more sought after by collectors. If you're looking at a 1970 penny with the S mint mark, it could be worth more than other variations. However, what really excites collectors are error coins. Even though the 1970 penny might appear to be a run-of-the-mill coin, there are some notable minting errors that can drastically increase its value. One of the most well-known errors in 1970 pennies is the double die obverse. This occurs when the coin is struck twice by the same die, causing the design to be slightly off-center and resulting in a doubling of the text, particularly in the words, "Liberty" or "In God We Trust." Double die errors are highly prized by collectors because they're rare and unique, and they can substantially increase the value of the coin. If you have a 1970 penny with a noticeable double die obverse, you could be holding a very valuable piece of currency. In fact, error coins like this can be worth several $1,000s, depending on their grade and condition. Another type of error to look out for is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not perfectly aligned during the minting process, causing part of the design to be cut off or not fully struck. Off-center strikes are unusual and sought after by error coin enthusiasts, so if you come across a 1970 penny with an off-center design, it could be worth far more than its face value. Die cracks are another error to watch for. These occur when the minting die cracks during production, leaving a raised crack on the surface of the coin. While not as dramatic as double die or off-center errors, die cracks can still make a coin more valuable if they affect the design in a prominent way. So, why exactly is the 1970 Lincoln penny so valuable? It all comes down to rarity and condition. While the 1970 penny was minted in large numbers, finding one in pristine, uncirculated condition is not easy. Add to that the allure of rare minting errors, and you've got a coin that could fetch a significant price at auction or among collectors. If you happen to have a high-grade 1970 penny, or even better, a coin with a notable error, you could be holding a valuable piece of American history. In some cases, a well-preserved 1970 penny with a double die or another error could be worth anywhere from $3,000 to $37,000, depending on its rarity and condition. Before we wrap up, I want to know, have you ever found a 1970 Lincoln penny with a minting error? Or do you have any rare pennies in your collection? Drop a comment below and share your coin discoveries with us. Today, we're diving into a fascinating and often overlooked piece of American currency, the 1960 Lincoln penny. While this coin may seem like just another penny from the past, there's more to it than meets the eye. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, this video will give you everything you need to know about why the 1960 penny could be more valuable than you think. We'll also take a closer look at what errors to watch for, how to spot a valuable coin, and what makes this penny a hidden gem in the world of numismatics. Let's start by talking about the key features of the 1960 Lincoln penny. The 1960 penny features the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by artist Victor David Brenner. This has been the design on the Lincoln cent since 1909, making it one of the most familiar and enduring symbols of American coinage. On the obverse side of the coin, you'll see Lincoln's bust, facing right, with the inscription, "In God We Trust," above, "Liberty," to the left, and the year, 1960, on the right. This simple yet powerful design is synonymous with American history, and it's one of the most recognizable images in the world. On the reverse, you'll see the familiar image of two wheat stalks on either side of the words, United States of America. The phrase, E pluribus unum, is also included, along with the words, 1 cent, at the bottom, representing the coin's value. The reverse of the Lincoln wheat penny stayed consistent until 1959, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. This makes the 1960 penny one of the final issues in the classic wheat penny series, which makes it especially interesting to collectors. Now, you might be wondering, what makes the 1960 penny so special, and why is it considered valuable? Well, just like any other coin, the condition of the 1960 penny plays a big role in determining its value. Most of these pennies were minted and circulated, meaning they were used in everyday transactions, which often resulted in wear and tear. However, if you happen to have one in pristine, uncirculated condition, your penny could be worth significantly more. A coin that's still shiny and clean, with sharp details and no signs of heavy circulation, is considered to be in mint state. In this condition, a 1960 penny can fetch a pretty penny, no pun intended. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. For example, a 1960 penny graded at MS65 or higher is far rarer than one in lower grades. And, when it comes to high-grade 1960 pennies, they can sell for several $1,000s at auction. But what really makes the 1960 Lincoln penny so interesting are the mint errors that were produced that year. Collectors are always on the lookout for error coins, and the 1960 penny is no exception. There are a couple of key errors you should be aware of if you're hunting for rare pennies. The most notable error associated with the 1960 penny is the double die obverse. This occurs when a coin is struck twice by the same die, resulting in a design that appears to be doubled. You'll notice this error in the lettering, especially in Liberty and In God We Trust. The letters will have a noticeable doubling effect, which makes the coin stand out from the rest. This error is particularly sought after because it's rare, and if you have a double die obverse from 1960 in great condition, it could be worth much more than its face value. Another error to look out for is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not aligned properly during the minting process, and part of the design is missing or cut off. Off-center coins are also highly desirable because they're unique, and collectors often value them for their irregularity. If you find a 1960 penny with an off-center design, it could be worth significantly more than a regular, well-struck penny. In addition to these errors, die cracks can also make a 1960 penny more valuable. Die cracks are imperfections that form on the die used to strike the coins. If the die becomes cracked, it can leave a raised line or crack on the surface of the coin. While die cracks may not be as dramatic as double die errors, they can still make a coin more interesting and increase its value, especially if the crack is noticeable and affects the design. So, why is the 1960 Lincoln penny valuable? It all comes down to rarity and condition. While millions of these coins were produced, only a small fraction remain in excellent condition, and even fewer have the coveted mint errors that collectors are searching for. The combination of a high-quality coin and rare minting errors makes the 1960 penny a potentially valuable find. If you happen to have a 1960 penny that's in uncirculated condition or features a mint error, you could be holding a coin worth anywhere from $3,000 to $33,000, depending on its specific condition and rarity. This is a significant amount for a coin that was originally worth just 1 cent. Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever found a 1960 penny with an error? Or perhaps you've discovered a rare coin in your collection that you'd like to share? Drop a comment below and tell us about your experience. Today, we're diving deep into a coin that might just be hiding in your spare change, the 1967 Lincoln penny. While this coin may seem like just another piece of everyday currency, there's much more to it than meets the eye. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just beginning your journey into numismatics, this video will give you a complete overview of why the 1967 Lincoln penny could be worth far more than 1 cent, and why it's so valuable in the world of rare coins. Let's start with a closer look at the key features of the 1967 Lincoln penny. The design of this coin is familiar to all who have ever held a penny. On the obverse side, we see the image of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This design, which first appeared in 1909, has remained virtually unchanged for over a century. On this side, you'll find the engraving, "In God We Trust," above Lincoln's bust, with "Liberty" to the left and the year 1967 to the right. This is the hallmark of the Lincoln cent, a piece of history in every coin. Turning the coin over, we see the reverse side featuring 2 stalks of wheat, which is where the term "wheat penny" comes from. This design, created by engraver Frank Gasparo, was used from 1909 until 1958. However, the 1967 penny marks a special transition year since it was the first year that the penny was minted without the wheat reverse design. Starting in 1959, it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial, but the 1967 penny still holds a special place in the hearts of collectors. What really sets the 1967 penny apart and makes it so desirable to collectors is its rarity and condition. While millions of these coins were minted, not all of them survived in top condition. A coin that has been carefully preserved, without the usual wear and tear from circulation, will stand out. A well-preserved coin can be worth far more than its face value, especially when it's graded highly by professional numismatists. If you come across a 1967 penny in mint condition, it could be worth thousands. However, the real excitement for collectors comes from the errors that can occur during the minting process. These mistakes are rare and often make the coins even more valuable. The 1967 Lincoln penny has a few notable error coins that collectors actively search for. One of the most sought-after errors for the 1967 penny is the double die obverse. This happens when a coin is struck multiple times by the same die, resulting in the design appearing doubled. The double die effect is most noticeable on the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." If you closely examine these areas, you may notice a doubling of the letters, which adds to the coin's uniqueness. Double die obverse are considered highly valuable, and if you have a 1967 penny with this error, it could command a much higher price than a standard issue coin. Another error to look for in the 1967 penny is the off-center strike. This occurs when the penny isn't properly aligned when it's struck, leaving part of the design missing from one side of the coin. Off-center coins are incredibly rare, and collectors love them for their irregularity and unique appearance. A 1967 penny with an off-center strike can be worth far more than a regular penny, and if the error is particularly pronounced, it could be worth thousands of dollars. Aside from these major errors, you might also come across die cracks or rim errors, which are imperfections that occur in the dies used to strike the coins. These errors often appear as raised cracks or raised lines on the coin, and while they might not be as noticeable as a double die or off-center strike, they can still increase the coin's value. Coins with these subtle imperfections can be highly prized by collectors, especially if they are rare and in good condition. So, what makes the 1967 Lincoln penny so valuable? As with most rare coins, its condition and the presence of errors are what really set it apart from the standard penny. A penny that has been well preserved over the years, coupled with an interesting error, can increase the coin's worth dramatically. Collectors are always on the lookout for rare errors, and a coin in near-perfect condition can easily fetch a significant amount at auction. If you're lucky enough to own a 1967 penny that has an error or is in uncirculated condition, you could find that your penny is worth anywhere from $3,000 to $35,000, depending on the specific grade and rarity of the coin. That's quite a lot of value for a coin that started its life as just a simple 1-cent piece. Before we wrap up, I'd love to know if you've ever come across any rare pennies or unusual coins in your collection. Have you found a 1967 penny with an error or one that you think might be valuable? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's get a discussion going. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap the notification bell so you never miss any future discoveries. Thanks for watching, and happy coin hunting!